Good morning, everybody, from wherever you may be. My name's Jackie Boyle, and we have Dr. Ahrens on board today. Each week is our Health Talks 365. And today's talk, I think you're going to find it really interesting, as most of them always are. But this one in particular, for most of us, is something of interest, which is talking about blood sugar and flavonoids, understanding what we look at blood sugar levels and how we can explain it to people, what it is, and how the flavonoids may be of benefit to be able to support and assist the body. So how are you, Dr. Ahrens? Are you hearing me or not?
Yes, it's a great topic. It's one of the most, I hear you. It's sometimes the video is jerking a little bit, but I hear you pretty good. Am I okay?
Yes.
You know, I just flew in from Chicago just a few minutes ago. My arms are just killing me. But I was out in Chicago talking to the American Indian Health Services of Chicago. And we were talking specifically about blood sugar. They also, by the way, one of the doctors there saying they really had started figuring out about baldness. You know, there's very few Native Americans are bald, and it's the front is something to do with the gut-brain axis, where your thinking ability, the hair can fall out. Bald in the front and the back, you just think you're a lover. And so I got the point right away from them. And we started talking about the gut brain axis, and they were right on board with that. It was very nice talk. It was just click, click, click. You know, the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about that gut-brain barrier, or the other way around, brain-gut barrier, depending on which the signal you're sending or receiving. And they had been studying that because they are all about native foods, of course. Their whole history was tied into the land. And they did not just hunt and gather. They also did crops long before commercial agriculture. And the types of crops that they ate are right in line what we talk about every week. They are those old ancient berries and the more ancient seeds that we have just completely either neglected now, or we have outperformed, genetically modified them through standard breeding procedures, just make them bigger and bigger, and they don't have any flavonoids in there. So we were there to talk about flavonoids.
Dr. Ahrens, can I intervene with you? Sorry, because you may be better off to go off video, because it's going fast, quick. It kind of pauses for a little bit. Is everybody else getting that, or is it just me? You're getting that as well?
Yeah, I'm getting it here in Canada too.
Yeah, so it may be best if you consider doing offline if we can't get you to, like, not video, sorry, no video, maybe.
All right, so you still stop me if you let me know if the sound is jerking or not. Okay, you can give me a thumb signal up or down.
All right, I will do. Thank you.
Because from my side, you're also this jerky video. So we were talking about flavonoids, and that's why I was there to visit them, to talk about flavonoids. And they were right in tune with this. Once I started explaining some of the biochemistry behind it, they didn't know exactly about the flavonoids. They just knew there was something going on in the food supply that they had talked about with previous generations, that the food was just different. So they were recognizing there was an issue, that they were not getting enough flavonoids in their diet without even having identified that they were flavonoids. Isn't that interesting? Coming from a completely different angle, they knew there was something wrong. And so we talked about flavonoid deficiency syndrome. And people have heard us speak about that. It is when you're not getting enough flavonoids in your diet, and then that causes chronic inflammation, and it also causes a disruption in sugar metabolism, which lead to other disorders, other diseases down the line. Now, flavonoids do not themselves protect you from diseases. They support your immune system, and they manage carbohydrate metabolism, sugar metabolism. So why do you think that is so interesting to them? Well, it's because of two big reasons. The native, and here you're on another side of the planet, but here they like to call themselves American Indians or Native Americans, either one. And that population is overrun with diabetes. Probably it might be the worst on the planet. Overrun with diabetes. Blood sugars through the roof. And so they've got pretty large, substantial programs. And I heard horrible stories about just of the group in that room. There were 5 or 6 of us talking about their own cousins and uncles that had to have their limbs amputated because they had such high blood sugar. It eventually led to tissue breakdown, and they were losing limbs. So they were just searching so hard for some solution, and they were looking to see every area, and they were at the time studying the diet. Something's going on here. It didn't used to be like that. And another part of the diet which has changed, not only are there the foods, flavonoids in the foods are not there anymore, but they no longer consume ancient food stocks, and they're basically living on junk food, starches, and things like potatoes and rice. And why do you think that is? Because it's cheap. And that's probably the biggest problem with groups of people like that is they have to eat food that is cheaper. They told me I can't afford the fruits and vegetables. If I go for these fruits and vegetables, it costs another $100, $200, $300 a month. And so we're sitting there trying to come up with solutions. And so I told them that what I tell here every day, what is the story between flavonoids and sugars and high blood sugar or carbohydrate metabolism? What is the link? So let's repeat that just a little bit. Flavonoids manage directly the 7 key points in sugar metabolism in your body. When whether you eat an apple or you eat a potato, remember, starches are sugars also. Bread is a sugar. It's just put together a little differently, but as soon as you get that into your mouth, within a 2 or 3 seconds, that turns right into pure sugar. That's a processed food. The white bread we eat today is a processed food. Potatoes are not processed foods. They have been bred to be nearly 100% starch with no fiber. There's just pure sugar. So you take that sugar and you digest it, and it's too much sugar. Flavonoids will help regulate the conversion of that starch into sugar, slow it down. And then they also slow down the absorption of all those sugars into your bloodstream, from your gut into your bloodstream. It slows that down. Flavonoids, though, on the other hand, speed up taking the sugar out of your blood and getting it into your brain and into your muscle tissue. And flavonoids help you produce insulin. They help you be more insulin sensitive. They slow down conversion of sugar into fat tissue. And lastly, they help regulate the production of new sugar in your body called gluconeogenesis. And that's one that people don't pay much attention to. But your body wants to maintain the same blood sugar level you had yesterday today. It wants everything to be equal from one day to the next. So if you don't If all of a sudden you stop eating the same amount of sugar you were eating yesterday, you kind of try to cut it out, your body says, wait, I'm not getting enough sugar, and it makes its own sugar out of non-sugar. It actually takes some acids and turns those into sugars to keep your blood sugar levels. That's one of the reasons it's so difficult to try to lower your blood sugar just by diet. Now, you can do it, but it's not going to happen overnight or a week. And it's difficult because your body's going to resist that. It's going to try to maintain whatever blood sugar you had yesterday. It's going to try to maintain it today. So it's actually fighting against you. So that we talked about those flavonoids, they regulate sugar metabolism in your body. And additionally, those refined sugars, whether it's coming from potato or coming from bread or coming from table sugar or coming from donuts, that refined sugar causes your body to have chronic, that means long-term chronic inflammation. The inside of your guts and your blood vessels and arteries actually get on fire. They're so irritated. It's almost like having steel wool go through your veins. The lining, the epithelial lining is inflamed. Inflammation. And that is a sign of your immune system trying to figure out what is wrong here, because it's recognized there's some kind of poison around here, which is the refined sugar. Refined sugar is a poison in your body. And so your body goes on high alert. Your immune system kicks in, and one of the first things it does is it starts inflaming itself by dilating the capillaries. And that's why when you on your outside of your skin, you can see when you have inflammation, it looks red. That's what it means. Actually, it means on fire. It gets hot because also there's more increased blood flow. Your body is trying to get rid of that poison. It perceives there's a poison and is trying to get rid of it. And then it sends out this guy called tumor necrosis factor alpha. I love saying that word. Tumor necrosis factor alpha, for short, is called TNF alpha. It sends out TNF alpha because it's the general of the inflammation system, and that chemical goes out and tries to direct your body how to heal itself. And it's sent out constantly because we're constantly taking in this sugar. And eventually, just like any general in an army, he starts attacking his own cells. So when you have chronic long-term inflammation, your body never meant to have that. Inflammation is good when you get a cut, a wound, or you're attacked by a bee, or you got a virus or a poison, broken bone. Inflammation helps the healing process. But what's supposed to happen is your body goes out, it heals itself, and then everybody goes back home and your body's fine. But you're constantly exposing yourself to this refined sugar. So the troops, the army, never go home, and they just start chewing up your own body. And that the tissue breaks down, and then you end up getting diseases such as diabetes, arthritis, a whole myriad of disorders and diseases that are a result of chronic long-term inflammation. So the story is actually quite simple. The story is quite simple. We eat too much sugar. Everybody eats too much sugar. I eat too much sugar. I try to keep it down, but there's sugar even hidden in our foods and we don't even know about it. It's added sugar. But remember, rice is also sugar. It's rice. The modern rice that we have today is all sugar, 90% sugar. Bread is sugar. Donuts, of course, are sugar. But those things like potatoes, you never thought they were sugar. Pasta is sugar. Pasta is sugar. It's glucose put together a certain way that it looks solid and it looks like a different shape, but it's sugar. All these flours, they're sugar. They're starch, which is sugar. So we eat too much of it. And what we do eat, it's different than what used to be available to us 100, 500,000 years ago. Totally different food product. The blueberries that we ate 1,000 years ago, they are nothing like what we eat today. Nothing. They had a lot of flavonoids in them. Today, they don't have very many. They just got a lot of water and sweet. That's it. Just like oranges and apples. They're big, they look beautiful, they're sweet, they have very few vitamins and flavonoids. So we eat too much sugar, and the sugar we do eat is refined. We're getting constant inflammation. And eventually, because you have so much sugar floating around in your body, it can lead to disease conditions, and also put on extra weight, because that's one of the ways we were designed is with too much sugar. Okay, let's store that for another day. Then we put on extra weight. Then that contributes to your joints burning out because they have an extra weight. And I don't mean a little extra weight. You know what I'm talking about. 100, 200 pounds, 100 kilos more than we should have. And so your joints end up grinding. And then your circulatory system has to be under tremendous pressure to try to push blood through all that tissue. It's a poor system. It's terrible. So flavonoids help manage that sugar metabolism. They prevent, or at least manage, the inflammation, so it's not chronic long-term inflammation. And flavonoids help the sugar go where it should go in your body and keep it out of where it should not go. So it's a 1-2 punch on that side here. Flavonoids help you with your sugar metabolism, and they also help you manage your immune system, the inflammation cycle. So we talked about what we could do about that. How can you do it if you can't afford the right fruits and vegetables? Well, first of all, I applaud everyone that tries to eat more fruits and vegetables. I applaud it. But I know it's expensive. It's much more expensive. It could double your grocery budget if you got the proper fruits and vegetables. But as I just said, you cannot even buy the right fruits and vegetables. I tell you, go out and buy more fruits, and you buy them, and they are only like a third or less of the nutritional value that they had 100, 500 years ago. So you really do need to supplement yourself with flavonoids. And you could take it. My advice is take any flavonoids you can. Eat as much fruit and vegetables as you can. And then also supplement yourself with flavonoids. And there's actually some flavonoids on the market that are quite inexpensive. Citrus bioflavonoids is one, as an example. You can get that off of Amazon. Not very expensive. Do those things. The other leg on this stool is you've got to do some exercise. Now, exercise is good for lots of reasons. And we actually were talking about this today. And it was today in Chicago between 8:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. Oh, what kind of exercise? Cardio. Well, cardio is good, but you don't have to do that. You don't have to do cardio. It's anything. It's walk around your room. Walk around the block. Get up off the couch every now and then. Seriously, I'm not joking. Even a little bit of movement helps in many ways. Not only does it help tone your muscles, and it causes increased circulation. You get stronger, you can breathe easier, better circulation. And of course, if you can walk around a block, city block, or a mile in the country, a kilometer, that's even better. And then if you ever are able to actually get into some heavy duty exercise, that's great. But I'm telling you, just walk around your room. And so that exercise is good by itself. But as I just told this audience about a week ago, flavonoids help you manage your circulation, carbohydrate metabolism, and they help with controlling inflammation, but they also are the main food for the bacteria, the good bacteria in your gut, your biome, your microbiome. They are the preferred food of these bacteria. And when those bacteria are happy, they basically send positive chemical signals to your brain to tell your brain everything is okay. And when they're sending bad signals, when they don't have the right food, the environment is bad, They send negative chemical signals, and your brain goes into overdrive. It starts pumping out stress hormones. And as we said last week or the week before, that leads to a whole bunch of other issues. Flavonoids, therefore, they have three things going on. And probably next year we'll find out more. But they regulate, they manage sugar metabolism in your body. They manage your inflammation cycle system in your body. And they also, most of them go to become the food for that gut bacteria. And exercise helps your body break the flavonoids down into the usable form that the bacteria can use. Exercise turns those flavonoids into the food that the bacteria want. And it's not just because you're speeding up your blood and you've got better flow of oxygen and carbon dioxide. No, we thought that for a while. There's actually a stimulatory process where the flavonoids break down quicker and are more readily available for that gut bacteria due to exercise. So that was amazing, because there they were talking, they knew that something like this was going on. They knew that their diets were poor. They just not available to them. But they didn't know it was flavonoids. And that was a piece of the puzzle for them. So I was very glad to deliver that message to them, just as I'm delivering it to you now. And I would also remind people that there is a direct correlation, almost 1-to-1, a direct correlation between high blood sugar and being overweight, almost 1-to-1. So you really need to work to keep your blood sugar in a healthy range. And what is a healthy range? Well, I don't know how many people have all ever checked their own blood or gone to their doctor and had your blood checked. But if you get up in the morning, it ought to sit around 100. 100. That's the number we're looking for. 90 to 100. People say, well, 85 to 90. Okay, look, if you're under 100, I'm happy. Just say 100. That's your fasting blood glucose level, 100. If you look at long-term, which is called the AC1 level, a different test, it needs to be at around 5.7 somewhere, not 7 or 8, but 5. So work to do that. Yes, it's hard to do, but you need to treat this problem with high blood sugar and taking in too many carbohydrates, too much sugar, too much flour, too much starch, too much potatoes, too much rice, too much pasta. I'm not even counting all the candy and stuff that you eat. You need to treat that just as if you were an alcoholic, or if you were smoking and trying to stop smoking. It's difficult, but I'm telling you, it's more of a life and death situation than smoking. It's more dangerous to your health to have high blood sugar and eat all those sugars, those carbohydrates, than smoking. Treat it like alcoholism. Treat it like any other addiction. You've got to force yourself to get off of this. And one way you can do it is take flavonoids. Either find those dark fruits and vegetables, supplement yourself with a flavonoid. You'll find out after a week or two that your desire for those sugars will drop because you are addicted. But after a week or two, you'll find out, oh, you don't want that sandwich as much as you did the day before, or that donut is not quite as enticing to you. It's a lot of work. So I want to repeat those very few points here. Flavonoids manage sugar metabolism. We sometimes call them sugar chaperones because they escort the sugar in your body. They get the sugar where it needs to go, like your muscle and your brain, and they keep them out of the places where they shouldn't go, like into the fat tissue and staying in your blood. Flavonoids also help manage inflammation, and therefore you avoid chronic inflammation. Flavonoids, most of them are broken down into the food for the good gut bacteria. And you need that gut bacteria. Your gut bacteria is what does most of the digestion for you and produces things like vitamins for you. The vitamins don't actually come mostly from food. Some do, but others are produced by the bacteria. So it's a symbiotic relationship. We give them a place to live, and in return, they give us very good chemicals to increase our health. Lastly, exercise, even a little bit. Walk around the room. Get up and go turn the TV off instead of pushing the remote control button. Things like that. So we're starting to work with this population of people, these Native Americans, to come up with a program to help them be able to get a better diet. We're talking with them and as well as our government officials, and we're going to solve that problem. And I'm thankful to tell you this same story as I do every single week. I hope you don't get tired of it. Eat well. It's all about diet and exercise. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahrens, and I hope that everybody got the clear message through here, like when we're talking about sugar, glucose levels or sugar levels, if you want to talk about diabetes, whatever it may be, when we're looking at the connection between how beneficial that these flavonoids are, it is imperative, and it really is. So I want to thank you so much, Dr. Ahrens, for what you've been able to provide to us. I know that you've had a very hectic schedule, so we appreciate you being able to make your valuable time available to us. And on behalf of us, we want to thank each and every one of you for showing up each week too, because we would not have a call if it wasn't for you guys turning up too. So we hope you share this, because the idea behind doing this, the way that it has been designed now with Dr. Ahrens talking about flavonoids, that you've got a safe platform to be able to share with people when they have certain conditions that they may be wanting some answers for, or you may be wanting to explain how these flavonoids work. So go through the YouTube, have a look. But on behalf of all of us, we'd like to thank you so much. We hope you have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next week. So thank you.